Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk about asset allocation in retirement. This, of course, is a very difficult topic to understand because retirement money handling is perhaps the toughest job because you have to have money for the short term, medium term, long term, and the ultra long term. I mean, it could even be 40 years. I would call that ultra long term. I would call 30 long term. And so the perfect asset allocation has never been arrived at. So the perfect asset allocation should be one which allows you to meet all your goals, have nice sleep, and make sure that your money lasts longer than you do, so that you don't have to ask anybody for any help during your older age. Maybe you're 90 years of age and you have to be able to manage the money yourself, so it has to have simplicity. So this is the total crux what you're looking for in a portfolio asset allocation, which has to last as long as you do. After that, what happens shouldn't matter. And I'm assuming this is, suppose it's a childless couple who say, I really don't care what happens to my money after my death, then it should get over after the death of the second spouse, right? So this is what should happen. Now, this is not ideal. It's not easy to get. Some people are happy with more equity. Some people are happy with less equity. But for heaven's sake, don't chase yields at the age of 86 or 87 and say, oh, interest rates are falling, what will happen? Because it is time that you start spending from the capital. You have to finish your capital, or if not exhaust your capital, make sure that you're not inconvenienced by chasing yields and taking lock-in investments, and pretty unnecessarily, right? And I see people doing that. I see people who are going to exhaust their corpus still going and locking in their money for very long. So you do a reasonableness check of how much of equity should you have, how much of debt should you have. I mean, if you're 85 years of age, you can be 90% in debt. Why do you have to be in equity at all? So what should you do with your equity? Pull it down. This is a great time when the markets are high to withdraw money from your equity and put it into debt, or go to a complete debt portfolio by the time you're 86, 87. Of course, there's a risk that you'll live till 100, but still, it's time that you move more money into debt and have less money in equity, or put 90% money in debt and start withdrawing from your equity for your day-to-day expenses. Let's say you have 10,000 shares of Cholamandalam, and Cholamandalam Finance is doing very well. It is the share is upward of 400 rupees or upward of 500 rupees. Let's say 530 it was yesterday. And you need 50,000 a month. Sell 100 shares every month. You've got 10,000 shares. That is going to last you a lifetime, right? So start doing that. Start withdrawing and come to your correct asset allocation. Now, if you're younger, let's say you're just 60 and you're starting to asset allocate, I would say first step, look for a good experienced financial advisor who will be able to guide you through this. Believe me, it's not easy. Getting a young financial advisor also may not be very useful. So get a person who's at least 45, 50 and who should be able to guide you through this. There are younger financial advisors who can do a good job, but for you to find one will be very difficult. So look at somebody who may have handled this in the past and ask him or her how long they have been in this, and how many of their clients who, if they were alive, would have lived till the age of 100. Then you know that how this person could manage a senior citizen and a super senior citizen's money. That's very important. Other than that, in India, there are not enough asset allocation guides. You may have to go abroad and look at asset allocation guides. I think Vanguard has one. I think Morningstar has one. Look at those asset allocation guides and see how much should be in what asset class. You see, remember one thing, when you're in a bull run, the chances are you believe that all your money should be in equity. But we have had a bull run for very long. Maybe 2009, 2010 is when 2009 is when this bull run started. And after that, yes, we have seen vicious corrections, but these corrections have not lasted. A 30% drawdown in in March of 2020 did not stay there for too long, right? It came back, it bounced back. That is not what I call We have not been in a bear market for too long, so people think, oh, market will go down, market will come up. It's not necessarily true. Sometimes the losses can be long, painful and permanent, right? What do you do in such cases? You should be able to handle those cases also while in retirement, and that's not going to be very easy. So you will have to take a more sober view that going ahead I will get 11% in equity, even though there will be empirical evidence that in the last 5-6 years you may have got 14% or 18% in equity. You can't assume that will happen. You have to assume that inflation will be higher, you have to assume that interest rates could remain steady or go lower, maybe it will go higher, damage your portfolio, then go lower. All these things will happen. So based on all this, based on past evidence, based on your own experience, based on your fear, based on your size of corpus, based on how complex a portfolio your spouse wants to handle, based on all this you decide your asset allocation. It is just not a mathematical model that you can cut paste and say, oh, this will work for me. It has to be tailored from individual to individual. So even such simple questions as to how much in equity, it's not easy for everybody to answer. The question is, how much do you understand equity, how much complications you want till your age of maybe 70, 75, maybe even 80, and then how much you want to buy an annuity for. Do you want to leave any money for your next of kin? Is there somebody whom you're supporting who needs the capital? Somebody who is not well, some child who needs support and who can't earn money, then you need to leave back some corpus at least, right? I know two families where they are going to, they're being forced to leave back some money because they have children who are challenged, and sadly they don't have enough money. I mean, they don't have enough money to last through the child's life till the child reaches age of 60. The child is now maybe in the 40s. And this money has to last another 6 years. They don't have that kind of money. Then you have to be more careful while doing asset allocation. For heaven's sake, seek the help of a good advisor to do this. After having done this, after collecting data from so many people and so many sources, customize it for yourself. You should not think that you can do a cut paste. You can't do a cut paste. Individually, it has to be monitored. Individually, suppose that's the husband whose wife is 10 years, 12 years younger to him. He has to then start managing the money with her point of view rather than his point of view. If the age gap is 2 or 3 years, then it's different. For a man at 70, if his wife has already died, then he's planning for one person. It's going to be different than planning for two people. No, expenses don't fall in half, but yes, expenses do go down. You don't have medical expenses of one person, you only have medical expenses of yourself. So you may need, you obviously do not need any life insurance, but you have to make sure that you have adequate medical insurance, geriatric care, and all. You need to provide for all that, right? So you have to make it custom based. How do you decide how much money do you need to have in equities? Depends. Suppose you have a central government pension which is big and indexed. You need to have less money in equities. You don't need to. However, if you want to create wealth for the next generation, put more money in equities because your pension will take care of your requirements. If you think you're going to live very long, if there is longevity in the family, you have more equities. And if you need a high level of income because you're going to travel and things like that, then yes, you need to have more money in equity because that will appreciate better and you will be able to do good drawdowns from that for all your travel and vacations. If you have a big enough corpus, let's say your financial advisor said you need about 2 crores of corpus, but you end up having 5 crores, 6 crores. Obviously, you can put more money in equities, but even less money in equities won't hurt you too badly. If you have a high savings rate and if you have less expenses, obviously you have to have a lesser amount of money in equities. Will you have some other goals in retirement? Any child to be helped, any sibling to be helped? Then you have to have lesser money in equities. You have to have more money available in debt for you to be able to help them. If you have a very stable career and you're going to work till the age of 80, you need less money in equities. After having done all this, keep it up to date. Make sure that you keep reviewing it regularly, review your insurance regularly, and that's it. You make sure that the will is in place, that your wife knows how to manage. I'm assuming you're a man managing your money. Make sure your spouse, children know what you have done. write down, keep records, all that is important. Thank you. Welcome to Subramani. There are two jobs which a CEO and a CIO of a mutual fund should not do. And I'm very clear about this. They should not talk about asset allocation of clients simply because they don't know you. If you are my client and I'm your advisor, I know you and I know how much money you should have in which asset.